What is going on, people? Welcome back to another episode of the Mike Roach Podcast, where I dive into the world of sports, politics, and culture. I'm your host, Mike Roach. Thrilled to have you join me for another episode. And folks, if you're enjoying the content, please don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, share, and rate the podcast. Your support helps me grow the channel and reach more listeners like you. You can find me on Instagram at Mike Roach7, on X at Mike Roach 23, on TikTok, the number one, Mike Roach on TikTok. And make sure you check out all the recent videos I've uploaded to the channel. There's plenty of content you won't want to miss. And you can also find me on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Now, there's some things that I want to jump into, that I want to talk about that I've been thinking about and are kind of ticking me off at the same time. And there's three things that I want to discuss today on this podcast that I believe we need to speak about. Okay. Now, the first thing that I want to touch on is this whole Drake and UMG thing going on here. Okay. Drake is suing UMG. And I want to talk to people about that because I think people are a bit focused on the wrong thing here. I think people are focused a lot more on Kendrick Lamar than they should be. And Drake is actually using Kendrick Lamar, in my opinion, to bolster his argument to sue UMG. Clearly. We already know that, but I think it's more than we actually think that it is. The second thing I want to talk to you about is Jontay Porter. I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, Jontay Porter? I mean, damn it, when Fred VanVleet told people to bet on themselves, I'm pretty sure he wasn't talking about literally. Okay? We're going to talk about that as well. The third thing, Premier of Alberta, Danielle Smith, refuses to take a Team Canada approach. Is that true? She's catching a lot of heat. She's catching a lot of smoke. And I personally don't believe it's warranted. But we'll touch on that as well. But the first place I'm going to start here is with Drake filing a lawsuit against UMG. Now, before this was confirmed, there was a petition. And I believe that we did speak about that a couple podcasts ago. Okay. Now it's a lawsuit. And we're going to talk about that just a little bit right here. I'm going to share my screen with you here. Okay. Because there's some things that we got to look at here, folks. Let's make this big screen. This is from today.com. All right. Written by Gina Vivanetto. I'm going to read you just some of the basics and then we'll go into what I think is going on here. Now, Drake is suing his record label, Universal Music Group, for defamation and harassment, alleging that the company helped and spread a false and malicious narrative about him when it promoted and released the diss track Not Like Us by his rap foe Kendrick Lamar. In the lawsuit, the Canadian rapper alleges that UMG approved, published, and launched a campaign to create a viral hit out of a rap track that falsely accuses Drake of being a pedophile and calls for violent retribution against him. Drake is seeking nominal, punitive, and compensatory damages, including general, actual, consequential, and special damages in an amount to be determined at trial. Interesting. Okay. He is also asking a judge to order UMG to state that the statements made in Not Like Us are false and order them to stop making statements about the popularity of the recording, image, or video in Not Like Us. Okay, first of all, I understand this. I understand it. But Drake, I don't actually believe that anybody thinks you're an actual predator or a pedophile. I don't think anybody actually believes that. Damn it, it's a diss record. Okay. Things are going to be said on both sides. You called the man a woman beater. He called you a pedophile. Okay. It's a rap battle. I get it. Being called a pedophile in a track that was as big as Not Like Us is unprecedented. And now you are alleging that this has harmed your reputation and that it is slowing down business for you, which ultimately affects the amount of money that you are taking in. Understood. Completely understood. And I just want to make it clear for people who don't understand. Drake is not suing um, Kendrick Lamar. Drake is suing UMG, not Kendrick Lamar. Okay. So let's just make that extremely clear. Um, the suit examples, the suit cites examples of the alleged violence that resulted, including an incident on May 7th when an unarmed group of assailants drove to Drake's Toronto home, where at least one gunman opened fire, wounding the rapper's security guard. Also, Drake claimed, and I didn't read this one, but I've been hearing about it from all over the place, that there was some his son was being harassed at school and that he had to move him and his child's mother out of Canada, which was news for me. I didn't know that, but apparently that is an issue as well. And so Drake is extremely ticked off with his own record label. UMG wants the public to believe that this fight is between rappers, but this lawsuit is not brought against Kendrick Lamar, as I just stated. This lawsuit reveals the human and business consequences to UMG's elevation of profits over the safety and well-being of its artists and shines a light on the manipulation of artists and the public for corporate gain. The team's statement concluded. Well, no ish. No ish. I mean, I'm pretty sure that we all understand how this thing works. But Drake is ticked off about it, damn it.
I must feel that you betrayed me. Did you tell the folks that? You bitch. You know how I must feel.
That's what Drake is saying to UMG right now. That's what he's saying to UMG. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Drake signed a $400 million deal in 2021 with UMG, which means if Drake signed for $400 million, how much is UMG making? They have to be making billions if you sign this man for $400 million. And it's time to renegotiate, right? It's time to renegotiate a new deal for Drake. He's brought in way more than $400 million back to that label. So it's time to re-up with a new contract, damn it. And if you listen to the song Family Matters, where Drake is going at Kendrick, he states in that song, if you listen clearly, that 400 million now would be a low ball for him. Would be a low ball for him. So, with that being said, to me, it seems that Drake is looking for a deal with his new contract that has to be at least somewhere close in the range of $1 billion. It has to be in that range of $1 billion, if you ask me. And he's also alleging that they are trying to lower his value so that when he sits at the bargaining table, he doesn't have the leverage in order for him to be able to negotiate a deal that big. Here's the problem. It's tough to tell UMG what to do and how to do things when you got your hand out for their money. Let that be a lesson to everyone. It doesn't matter where you're working. You could be working for FedEx, McDonald's. You can be working for an NBA team. You can be working as a scientist for a corporation. When you got your hand out for somebody else's money, you don't get to go around telling them what to do and how to do it. It's just the way that it works, okay? It's just the way that it works. And so, listen, I understand. And a lot of people think that, okay, this is about Kendrick Lamar and what he's saying. I believe this is bigger than Kendrick Lamar at this point. I believe that Drake understands that he has been played in regards to UMG using them to pit them against each other and them wanting to go back and forward with diss tracks. And Drake sees that he was used, as he shouldn't be surprised, but I guess it does tick you off a bit more when they're using you being called a pedophile at your expense for them to enrich themselves off of you. You don't like that. I get it. Understandably so. And I think this is not just about Drake. I believe he's doing this as something that he wants other artists and industries to actually look at. Because here's what I find amazing too. And I'm probably going to wrap it up for this subject after I mention this part. Here's what I find amazing. A lot of black people aren't going to like this, what I'm about to say, but damn it, I'm going to say it anyway. Everybody who's in the UMG upper class at the top, the people running the show, I guarantee you they're all white. I guarantee you they're all white. And they're using these guys to disrespect each other, pay them while they run off with the billions. Okay, I understand it. It's a money-making business. It's a money-making business. I get it. Show me an industry that black people run where they can pay another race, group of people, whatever you want to call it, to hurl insults at each other, put terrible messages in the music to denigrate and disrespect their own community, and then black people run away with all the damn money. You're not going to see it. You're not going to see it. And I have a feeling that as this continues to go on, as more things are going to be coming out about this lawsuit, that more people are going to start to look at it in the way that I just mentioned it to you. Because I have a feeling that's a big part of what this is about. And he didn't like when things were going against him now, but when it was in his favor, when it was in Drake's favor, when they were using all those same tactics for him and his music to be pushed out further is not a problem. But I guess maybe to him, he didn't think anybody could be this poor morally. I think that's the way he sees it. And I'm going to leave it at that. There's going to be a problem here for Drake, especially if he sees Kendrick Lamar do this song at the Super Bowl. I believe a part of this, he doesn't want that either. He doesn't want that either. Don't get me wrong. But damn it, I think it's going to happen. Because I don't think Drake is going to be getting that $1 billion deal that he wants from UMG. This is going to cause a massive rift. And they're probably going to figure out some way how to make Kendrick bigger than ever at the Super Bowl. And damn it, I think this track is going to happen at the Super Bowl. I don't know, but we're right around the corner. So we're going to find out. Okay. So it's a very messy situation. And I think this is very far from being over. All right. Now, the next thing that's not over, damn it, is Jontay Porter being in court. Okay. Jontay Porter, the ex-Toronto Raptor, is in court. Damn it for cheating. Okay. The dude was betting on himself. He took Fred VanVleet's advice, but in the wrong way. way. This man thought Fred VanVleet meant it literally. Nope. This dude, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, let me share my screen with you. Now I'll read another article here. Jontay Porter. All right. New court documents show that former Toronto Raptors forward Jontay Porter texted alleged co-conspirators in his gambling case during an NBA game. So for people who don't know, Jontay Porter was playing for the Toronto Raptors, a pretty decent player, by the way, and was getting people to bet on him in regards to under and over for his stats. And then he was telling them to bet on the under while he would go into the game and then get taken out of the game purposely, saying he was injured or something is wrong with him. And so that the coaching staff would not put him back in the game. And so that all his numbers would be under and they would all hit on their bets. But they were, putting ridiculous amounts of money on these bets. And so it looked very suspicious and they caught on to it. Let me read a little bit more here for you. Authorities arrested 39-year-old Shane Hennon in Las Vegas on Sunday as he was attempting to board a one-way flight to Colombia. Hennon had multiple cell phones and around $10,000 in cash where he was arrested. That doesn't sound suspicious at all. Hilarious. Porter pleaded guilty in July to wire fraud conspiracy and was subsequently banned from the NBA for life. He faces up to 20 years in prison when he is sentenced. Now, most likely, he is going to be spending what they believe is going to be around 3.5 years in prison, somewhere around that time. Hennon is the sixth person charged in alleged betting scheme involving Porter. Along with Hennon's arrest, federal authorities disclosed a text message Porter sent explaining how, during a January 22nd game, 2024, against the Memphis Grizzlies, he planned to take himself out of the game. According to court documents, last thing I'm going to read here, obtained by USA Today Sports, Porter sustained an eye injury during the game and texted the two alleged co-conspirators, "I went back to the locker room to get my eye checked on. I don't know if I'm going to play much more. I'm not starting the second half, but if it's garbage time, I will shoot 1,000,000 shots." Wow. One of the alleged co-conspirators forwarded a text from Porter to Hennon on January 26th. Hit unders for the big numbers. No blocks, no steals. I'm going to play the first 2 to 3 minutes stint off the bench. Then when I get subbed out, tell them my eye is killing me. Ladies and gentlemen. So, first of all, apparently this was done because of a gambling debt. This man plays in the NBA. Battled his way back to the NBA with a serious leg injury that he sustained. His brother, by the way, almost signed a deal for $200 million for the Denver Nuggets, Michael Porter Jr. I didn't mention that part. But this guy was about to, in my estimation at least, I think he was about to sign another deal with the Raptors. He was playing pretty damn well before this nonsense happened. I mean, I just don't know what to say. I don't know what to say at this point. Seriously.
That son of a bitch off the field right now. Out. He's fired.
Listen, this guy is stuck on something else, but something besides stupid. I don't know what the hell this guy was thinking. Now, I know. Gambling debt. But the way he was playing, it looked like he was going to sign a multi-year deal. I really believe that. I think he could have signed at least a 3-year, million deal, in my opinion. 3 points, 2 rebounds, 1.6 assists. But that stretch of basketball that he was playing at that point was really good. Like, he was making shots. I'm not even going to bother showing you highlights. The man's a disgrace. Like, it's one thing if you at least bet on overs so that you can help your team win by going out there and balling out. But for God's sakes, betting on the under, really? I mean,
this is completely BS. This is shame. Shame for the referees, shame for the league to allow this.
This is embarrassing. I mean, to make it all the way to the NBA just to ruin your career, your life, for that, unbelievable. This is where I have to leave this, because I'm just going to start saying things that are just insulting at this point. And I don't really want to go there, but this is, my God. And it's looking like this guy's going to do close to 4 years in prison because of this and lose a bunch of money at the same time. So, I mean, Jontay Porter, I mean, good luck. Good luck. It won't be the end of this until we hear what his sentence is going to be. But I mean, damn, this is just a terrible way to go out. Okay. Now, last thing I want to touch on is Danielle Smith, the premier of Alberta. Okay. Now, let me do a screen share. And let's touch on this before I get out of here. This is the last thing I'm going to talk about. Now, Danielle Smith caused some controversy this week after refusing to sign off on a joint statement from the other premiers and the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau that every countermeasure is on the table against the 25% tariffs that Trump is threatening to put on Canadian goods. Okay. Now, what they want to do is cut the energy off going south of the border into the United States. Danielle Smith won't tolerate cutting off energy supply to the U.S. or export tariffs on the province energy from Ottawa. She quotes, "We just won't stand for that," she said on Monday at a news conference to provide an update on her face-to-face meeting with Donald Trump at the Mar-a-Lago resort where she went to meet with him. She warned that it would have a national unity crisis on its hand at the same time as having a crisis with the U.S. Any kind of retaliation that we do on tariffs hurts Canadians, she said. I'm hoping that by talking about the importance of energy, that we'll be able to avoid tariffs on every Canadian product. The federal government says it is prepared to hit the U.S. with billions of dollars in retaliatory tariffs and has already sent multiple ministers to Washington this week, including Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly. Now, there is some consequence to doing this. Like, here's the thing. If she signs off on this as well, and Donald Trump gets into office on January 20th, probably by the time you're hearing this podcast, and he decides to go elsewhere for oil at this point, that would cripple the economy and the market for people in Alberta who work in this industry. That's where a large majority of the oil comes from in Canada. The far large majority of oil comes from out in Alberta, and people are out there working on those rigs. She also has a job to look out for the people of Alberta. And now people are slandering her and saying, you know, she's a traitor and all these other things. She wasn't the prime minister for the last decade. That would be Justin Trudeau. So from my estimation, this is not her fault. That would be his. And now we're going to make it seem like she's the problem. Now, don't get me wrong. Canada's going to have to find a way to do something, because if those tariffs, if he's serious about them, they're going to have to find out what they're going to do. Now, what I would do personally is what she did. Go to Mar-a-Lago, talk to the man, try to cultivate a relationship, and then see what that turns into. But to just say that you're going to be slapping retaliatory tariffs and getting to some type of tariff war with the US, I don't think this is going to be good for either side. It's going to hurt both sides. And somebody's going to have to figure out a way. First of all, when all these premiers were amongst each other and having a meeting with Trudeau, why the hell didn't they all just come together and demand a damn election immediately right now? Immediately. Because right now, yes, I understand that they were all together and that they're still listening to Justin Trudeau. But you have Trump coming into office, and then you're still listening to a guy like Trudeau, who we know that within 2 months is not going to be the prime minister anymore. Whether it's another liberal candidate, which it will be to start off, and then hopefully an election will be triggered by the Bloc Québécois, the Conservatives, and the NDP, which is hopefully before June. So why they just didn't demand that there's an election now so that we can have a functioning government to go across the border and speak to Trump is beyond me. It really is, folks. And so Canada's a mess right now. And there's a bunch of things that they have to figure it out and get this country moving back in the right direction. Excuse me. Folks, at Micro7 on IG, at Micros23 on X, choking right now. Good thing it's the end of the episode. Folks, if you haven't already done so, please, and you enjoyed today's topics, take a moment, follow, like, subscribe, hit the notification button. Your feedback is always welcome, and it helps me reach more listeners who are just as passionate about these topics as you. Don't forget to connect with me on social media, okay? I would love to hear your thoughts. At Micro7, as I mentioned, on IG, once again, at Micros23 on X. And remember to check out all my recent videos for more engaging content. You can listen to me anytime on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. It's your boy, Mike Roach. I'll be back again soon, and I'm out.